In this video, let us discuss service strategy. Understanding demand management. From a strategic perspective, demand management is about matching supply to demand. Consumption produces demand and production consumes demand in a highly synchronized pattern, as shown in the figure. Unlike goods, services cannot be manufactured in advance and stocked in a finished goods inventory in anticipation of demand. Demand and capacity are very tightly coupled with each other. As shown in the figure, service belt keeps rotating and business processes generate pattern of business activities, PBA. Based on the patterns, a right capacity planning is necessary to maintain a good balance in demand and supply. Sometimes, giving incentives or making penalties to influence demand is required. For example, night calling packs given by network providers. From a strategic perspective, demand management is about matching supply to demand. Consumption produces demand and production consumes demand in a highly synchronized pattern. Unlike goods, services cannot be manufactured in advance and stocked in a finished goods inventory in anticipation of demand. Demand and capacity are far more tightly coupled in service systems, even when compared with just-in-time, JIT, manufacturing. Customer assets present a pattern of demand to the service provider. Each time a user consumes a service, demand is presented to the service provider, and this consumes capacity of the service assets. This in turn results in the service being supplied to meet the consumer's demand. The greater the consumption of the service, the higher the demand, and the higher the consumption of capacity, the more of the service is supplied. This cycle of demand and supply will only function effectively while the service assets have available capacity. As soon as capacity is no longer available, the service provider will not be able to supply enough of the services to satisfy customer demand. For this reason, a major part of demand management is to understand the potential demand and the impact of the demand on the service assets. This allows capacity management to manage service assets and investments towards optimal performance and cost. The productive capacity of resources available to a service is adjusted according to demand forecasts and patterns. Some types of capacity can be quickly increased as required and released when not in use. The arrival of demand can be influenced using pricing incentives. However, it is not possible to produce and stock service output before demand actually materializes. Where a service or service package needs to be differentiated for different types of customer, one or more components of the package can be changed or offered at different levels of utility and warranty to create service options. These different service options can then be offered to customers and sometimes called service level packages or SLP. Core service package remains the same for all customer segments. Financial management for IT services, goals and objectives. The goal of financial management for IT services is to secure the appropriate level of funding to design, develop and deliver services that meet the strategy of the organisation. Here are the objectives of financial management for IT services. Defining and maintaining a framework to identify, manage and communicate the cost of providing services. Evaluating the financial impact of new or changed strategies on the service provider. Securing funding to manage the provision of services. Understanding the relationship between expenses and income and ensuring that the two are balanced according to the organisation's financial policies. The main purpose of financial management for IT services is to provide operational visibility, insight and superior decision-making capabilities to the organisation, service provider. Key terms. Here are the ABC of financial management for IT services. Accounting, budgeting, charging. What is the sequence we follow when we manage our household finance? Let's see what the definition of these terms is. Budgeting. This is the process of predicting and controlling the income and expenditure of money within the organisation. Budgeting consists of a periodic negotiation cycle to set budgets, usually annual, and the monthly monitoring of the current budgets. Accounting. This is the process that enables the IT organisation to account fully for the way its money is spent. particularly the ability to identify costs by customer, by service, and by activity. It usually involves accounting systems, including ledgers, charts of accounts, journals, etc., and should be overseen by someone trained in accountancy. Charging. This is the process required to bill customers for the services supplied to them. This requires sound IT accounting practices and systems. Major activities of financial management for IT services. Here are the major activities performed under financial management for IT services. Service valuation, to understand if the service is worth investing or continuing. Demand modelling, to shift or influence demands. Service portfolio management, right services and their cost or price are captured in the portfolio and catalogue. Service provisioning optimization, improving time to market and provisioning of service by ensuring right funding is available. Planning confidence, with the effective service valuation, help in planning and increase the confidence. Service investment analysis, cost-benefit analysis, and recommendations to make decisions. Budgeting, accounting, and charging, as we already covered in the previous slide. Compliance, ensure compliance in financial issues. Variable cost dynamics, analyze and recommend fixed cost or variable cost models. These activities are performed by the key role in financial management for IT services, which is Finance Manager. Finance Manager also provides oversight in some more activities like assisting to identify, document and agree value of services to the business, participating in demand modelling activities, incentive or penalty, provisioning of cost information for service portfolio management, maintaining regulatory compliance regarding financial issues. Business relationship management. Business relationship management is a very important process in service strategy, which helps building and maintaining the right professional relationships with the customers. The purpose and objective of business relationship management are to establish and maintain business relationships, to identify customers' business needs, to identify changes to customer environment which potentially will impact value of IT services, establish formal complaint and escalation procedure for customers, mediate in case of conflicting requirements from different businesses, identify technology trends which potentially will impact utilization of services. The key role in business relationship management is Business Relationship Manager, BRM, sometimes termed as Account Manager or Customer Relationship Manager, CRM. Business Relationship Management. For internal service providers, business relationship management is typically executed between a senior representative from IT, larger organizations may have dedicated BRMs, and senior managers, customers, from the business units. Here the emphasis is on aligning the objectives of the business with the activity of the service provider. In external service providers, business relationship management is often executed by a separate and dedicated function of BRMs or account managers, each one dedicated to a customer or to a group of smaller customers. The emphasis here is on maximizing contract value through customer satisfaction. Business relationship management focuses on understanding how services meet customer requirements. To achieve this, the process must focus on understanding and communicating business outcomes that the customer wants to achieve, services that are currently offered to the customer, and the way in which they're used by the customer, the way in which services are currently offered, including who is responsible for the services, what levels of service have been agreed, the quality of services delivered, and any changes that are anticipated. Technology trends that could impact current services and the customer, as well as the nature of the potential impact. Levels of customer satisfaction, and what action plans have been put in place to deal with the causes of dissatisfaction. How to optimize services for the future. How the service provider is represented to the customer. This at times means raising concerns around commitments that the business made to IT but is not meeting. From the above points, it is clear that business relationship management depends on a number of other service management processes and functions. For example, the mapping of business outcomes and services is done in service portfolio management. Service level management provides information about the levels of services agreed and achieved. Configuration management provides a mapping of infrastructure, applications, services, service owners, and customers. Capacity management provides information about utilization levels and the potential impacts of new technologies. Differences between BRM and SLM. Here are some differences between business relationship management and service level management process to understand them better. We'll cover service level management process in service design. The purpose of business relationship management is to establish and maintain a business relationship between the service provider and the customer based on understanding the customer and their business needs. Whereas the purpose of service level management is to negotiate SLAs, warranty terms, with customers and ensure that all service management processes, OLAs, and underpinning contracts are appropriate for the agreed service level targets. BRM focuses on strategic and tactical. The focus is on the overall relationship between the service provider and their customer and which services the service provider will deliver to meet customer needs. SLM focuses on tactical and operational. The focus is on reaching agreement on the level of service that will be delivered for new and existing services and whether the service provider was able to meet those agreements. Primary KPI for BRM is customer satisfaction, also an improvement in the measure customers' intention to better use and pay for the service. Whereas for SLM, it is achieving agreed levels of service, which leads to customer satisfaction. Service Strategy Session Summary. In this session, you've learnt about goals, objectives, and business value of service strategy, needs of service strategy, service assets in detail, value generation through utility and warranty, service provider types, delivery strategies and sourcing structures, service strategy processing in details, i.e., strategy management of IT service processes, service portfolio management processes, financial management of IT services processes, demand management processes, business relationship management processes.